So we've had your newspaper headlines, we've had news on your traffic and weather, and it's now time to find out what happened in your sport news this weekend. And David Brooke from Sport24 joins us again this morning. Morning. Welcome to Expresso.
Thank you very much.
You've had a busy weekend. I heard you had a power failure in the middle of one of the Super 15 games on Saturday.
Half an hour before the Stormers Crusaders game, my electricity blew at home. I had mates over, they rocked up there and I'm like, guys, my electricity is gone. They're like, we can get home in time, you know, if we leave now. But I said, no. I had a few choice words to the electrician who was working on the line, and thankfully, at about 10 to 5, I got my electricity back and I was able to watch the game. And what a cracking game it was,
yes.
You know. The Stormers, they were primed for a win, but unfortunately, Crusaders, there was some hard hits going in there, some big tackles going in, and the Stormers, you know, they just couldn't get it in there, in a lot of errors. You know, I think they were allergic to the material the ball was made of this weekend because they just couldn't handle the ball. You know, and the Crusaders took advantage of that and they won.
And other big games?
Well, the Sharks, they bounced back from their loss against the Stormers. They played the Brumbies at home in Durban and they beat them, which was a great victory for them because it now keeps the pressure on the Stormers because the Stormers now go overseas on their tour, which is the first time they're touring this year. Very late in the season. They play the Chiefs on Saturday, which is not going to be an easy game because they've just come off a great victory. Then they go to the Blues to play in Auckland, and that'll be a hell of a difficult game. So the Stormers have got a tough road ahead. You know, they're still ahead in the South African Conference, but they're coming fourth in the overall log, and they could be in danger of actually losing out if the Sharks maintain their winning streak. Cheetahs had a good win against the Lions.
They had a very good one.
The Lions, you know, they wanted to get on that plane to Australia very quickly. They've called in Butch James actually early from his contract in Bath has just ended. He was only scheduled to play in a couple of weeks' time. They wanted to ease him in, but John Mitchell's obviously lost patience with his young guns and said, okay, we need a fly-off now that can run things from the middle of the park. So he's now going to have 2 training sessions with his new mates before actually playing against a tough team.
Now, it wasn't a good weekend for Cape Townian sporting teams. What happened in PSL?
No, it wasn't indeed. Ajax Cape Town had the chance to wrap up the PSL title effectively with one match to go. They went to Kaizer Chiefs and they got absolutely thumped. 4-0 at Chiefs. You know, Sipiwe Chabalala, Chiefs winger, and Bafana Win, who scored that opening goal at the World Cup, which was just amazing. He's in a league of his own, and you know they absolutely destroyed Ajax. You know, these are the prospective champions, and they didn't look like champions on Saturday. Pirates stumbled against Santos. They drew 1-1, but it's all coming down to 2 weeks' time. Saturday, the 21st of May. All the games on. I think it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Big one's going to be at Cape Town Stadium, actually. Ajax Cape Town play Maritzburg.
Yes.
If they win the title. If they stumble, Orlando Pirates, if they win, they can win the title. If Orlando Pirates and Ajax Cape Town both lose and Kaizer Chiefs win the title. Your team, Sundowns, out of the picture. They got beaten on the weekend.
And then a big game here, English Premiership.
What
I didn't know where
game
to start
yesterday.
because there's so much sport I still
What
want
a
to talk
game
about.
yesterday. You know, it lived up to its billing. There was a lot of guys and girls who were keen to do Mother's Day breakfast and lunch instead of an early evening supper, you know. Because 5 o'clock kickoff, Man United Chelsea basically decided the title. Man United scored within the first minute of the game. Absolutely stunned most people who were still making their coffee and tea and biscuits and everything else. And then they went on to score another one and effectively closed the game off before half-time. Frank Lampard scored in the second half to get Chelsea in the game a bit, but it was a nervy last 20 minutes. But fortunately for Man United fans, they won the game, and effectively they're 6 points ahead now with 2 games to go, and they have to lose both games, and Chelsea have to win both games for them to get the title, which is pretty unlikely in my opinion, and as a Man United fan.
Of course, as a Man United fan, you're being biased here. Dave, it's always great chatting to you. I know we'll catch up later in the week with all our sporting headlines on Friday. Now, I grew up in an area in Pretoria called Wonderboom. It's north of Pretoria, and I actually thought the band Wonderboom came from Pretoria and from Wonderboom, but that's not actually the case. And Katlego found out earlier a bit more about Sito and the band Wonderboom, and he's joining him again on our Purple Couch to find out more about the man Sito.